So we're fetching user input here, but of course at the moment, if we run our application, we're not really providing a great user experience here. It's not obvious for which kind of input we're waiting here, or that we're waiting for any kind of input actually, because we're not telling the user of this application about our intentions. Therefore, here we can improve this code by not just waiting for a user input, but by showing some helpful message before we scan. And for that, we can use the print function, not println, but just print, to output some text without starting a new line thereafter, so that to the user it looks like as if they enter their value in the same line as this info text. And here we could say investment amount colon and then a white space to have some space between this info text and then the value that will be entered by the user. With that, if we now save this and we run our application again, we get this useful text here, and now it's much clearer which kind of value I'm entering here and that some value is expected from me in the first place. With that, the program still works as before, but is more user-friendly. And we can therefore now, of course, also fetch these other values. And you can definitely try this on your own first. We'll do it together after a short pause, which I give you, so that you can pause the video and try adding the code for fetching the years and the expected return rate on your own. Thereafter, we'll do it together. Did you succeed? Let's now fetch that input together. Of course, we again use scan to get the input, and then we populate the years again by also adding the ampersand in front of years, since you need to pass such a pointer to scan, as mentioned. Again, it would also be nice to have a little info message here, so therefore I'll copy this code here and also use it here and ask for the years or investment horizon, whatever you want. Here I'll just use years. And of course I also want the expected return rate, so I'll copy that and actually ask for that before I ask for the years, but that's of course optional. And ask for the expected return rate like this, and then by populating expected return rate like this. So that should work. Now you could of course now try to remove the initial values, since we don't really need them here for years and expected return rate either. But if you do that, you'll get an error, because you can't declare variables like this. That's too short. Go doesn't really know what you're trying to do here. Instead, if you're not assigning an initial value, you always need the var keyword. And you then also always have to explicitly define and set the type of value that will eventually be stored in that variable. Because in Go, every variable must have a clear assigned type, because Go is a statically typed language, which in a nutshell simply means that every place where a value is stored or used must have a type that's clearly defined, and therefore here we must let Go know about the type of value that will eventually be stored in years. And here it of course can't infer that because we have no initial value. If we had a default value, we would not need to do that, but here we need to set a type. Now we could also migrate the expected return rate to this notation now, but we could of course also say that we maybe want a default value for the expected return rate here. So we could also keep it like this, and here I will keep this syntax and this alternative way of creating a variable so that we also still see it in comparison. With that though, we're now defining all these variables and we're fetching all that input, and that should therefore be it. If we now save that and we open the terminal again, we can run our application and then enter those different values and enter a value for the investment amount, for the expected return rate, and for the number of years for which we want to hold this investment. And as a result, we'll get this output here.